God.
What's wrong, Mr. Dempsey?
What's wrong? What's wrong? You were there on Wednesday Warfare. You saw me lose to Christopher Blaze. Andrew, that was my one shot. That was our one shot at the Canadian title.
We'll figure it out.
Well, of course we're gonna figure it out. You know why? Because I have a plan. I always have a plan, and my plans, they always work. So here, this is what my plan is right now. You, Andrew, you are gonna walk into Sasha St. Clair's office and you are gonna demand a title shot rematch for me versus Christopher Blaze on Wednesday Warfare.
Well, I gotta go see my parole officer.
Okay, don't worry about your parole officer. I'm the one who pays you.
You haven't paid me yet.
Okay, yeah, don't worry about that. Now go! Get out of here and go get that title shot rematch for me. And give me this beer.
That's my urine sample.
Ah! 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 Ah!
Welcome everyone to Sunday Sacrifice. Tonight on the show, the new Canadian champ is in the house.
We're also going to see new number one contender Jimmy Dean take on this self-proclaimed 800-pounder Mercury.
And it was a crazy last episode of Wednesday Warfare, and we're going to go back and recap all the action that took place.
Also on Sacrifice, the man of a million holds, Daniel Makabe, is in action.
Backyard wrestling done right. This is the VBW, and tonight it's Sunday Sacrifice. We are inside the VBW arena, coming to you tonight from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Hello, everyone. My name is Mike, the man, Branahan, joined alongside by my favorite partner in crime,
the Professor Peter Collins. Remember, folks, I'm not better than you. I just know more than you. So open up those ears and shut that mouth. And as we start off Sacrifice tonight, newly crowned Canadian champion, Christopher Blaze. Looks like he's got something to say.
Well, I said and I did exactly what I said I was going to do, and that was break down Mike Dempsey right to his very foundation. And you're looking at the new VBW Canadian champion.
What a match it was last Wednesday Warfare between those two, Peter.
You know, a lot of people had their doubts. A lot of people didn't think the architect could do it. But I had a game plan the whole time, and it paid off in the end, because now I have proven it.
Well, I gotta admit, Ranahan, I was one of those doubters.
And I'm a fighting champion. I'm not one of those guys that sit in the back and just sit on the belt. I'm looking for challengers. So tonight, I'm issuing an open challenge. That's right. On Sunday's Sacrifice, the Canadian Championship will be on the line to the next man that walks through that curtain.
Who's it gonna be, Peter?
Huge open challenge made by Christopher Blaze for his Canadian title tonight.
I don't recognize that music.
But I recognize this guy. This is Chris Goodwin, all the way from Manchester, England. He's flown in to accept this challenge from Christopher Blaze. That's a heck of a trip, Ranahan.
No kidding, coming all the way from the United Kingdom.
Of all places.
Let me tell you colonials a little something. Where I come from, the United Kingdom.
Now that's just plain disrespectful, Ranahan.
There is a much higher caliber of wrestler than this.
Big words to the new champ.
And there's something you may all know. You are still ruled over by Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II.
Well, that is true. We do have her face on all our money.
QE2! QE2! I'm the queen!
Are you quite finished?
I sure hope so.
No, not yet.
I'll accept your challenge.
My challenge.
Oh yeah.
With this on the line.
Yeah, for that. Except I think it's got a bit of a silly name, don't you? Because we all know that really it should have a much better name, a much more British name.
What would that be?
I'm going to name it in honour of Her Majesty, and I'm going to name it the Queen Elizabeth II title.
Well, I'll be damned if you're going to do that. Maybe,
Canada, Canada,
maybe you'd like to get a piece of me right here.
Yeah, I think that'd be appropriate.
Yeah? Come on. Come on.
Things are getting hot and heavy in here.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Hold on a second, Peter. What's this? Both men trading blows back and forth. Chris Goodwin, Chris Blaze. Chris Goodwin with the upper hand as he backs Blaze into the corner.
And the action starts early tonight on Sunday Sacrifice.
Goodwin giving it to the new Canadian champion, but hold on a second. Blaze counters, and he delivers some elbows of his own. Oh, what's that by Goodwin? Wait a second. Kick to the gut.
I'm one!
Oh, my God. The new Canadian champ laid out by the newcomer, Chris Goodwin.
Knocked right out cold.
What does this mean for the Canadian Championship?
I'm being told right now that this is going to be our main event tonight on Sunday Sacrifice. Christopher Blaze defending the Canadian Championship against Chris Goodwin.
For Her Majesty.
What a way to start off Sunday Sacrifice. This is going to be one heck of a main event.
Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mr.
Oh, look who's here. Daniel Makabe. Nice of you to show up in VBW. Cool little promo we cut last show.
Thanks, guys. Nice to see you here in VBW as well. I guess you're here to challenge me to a handicap match, because you two are obviously both handicapped, right?
Hey, well, shut up, Dan.
Seriously though, fun is fun, but all jokes aside, handicap matches are terrible. So I'll take either one of you guys on in a singles match if either of you have the nerve to get on the mat with me, with Daniel Makabe.
All right. How are we going to decide this?
Claw, claw, claw.
Claw, claw, claw it is.
1, 2, 3, claw! 1, 2, 3, claw! 1, 2, 3, claw!
Me! You're taking me on.
Idiots. Let's go.
Come on.
Well, there you have it, folks. Looks like we're going to see Daniel Makabe take on Big Cat Scott Henson tonight.
Back inside the VBW arena.
Yeah.
What a crazy
Stars
Sunday
back in
Sacrifice
town.
it's been so far, Peter.
Absolutely. The action has been fast and furious, left and right, up and down. And now we're going to see this man, Mercury, self-proclaimed 800-pounder. Now, does this guy look like he's 800 pounds to you, Ranahan?
I believe he's nicknamed Mercules.
Well, it seems rather appropriate. Now, let me tell you, even though this guy may not look like much, he's got some serious skills, and he is one slippery dude inside that squared circle.
Let me use this opportunity to remind everyone that we're on YouTube, and you can subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/VBW Wrestling. And we're also on Twitter at VBW Online. Follow along. We're getting ready for our first matchup here tonight, and Mercury is going to be taking on this guy, the Dream, Jimmy Dean.
That's right.
8 pounds, 800 pounds, 8 million pounds. It doesn't matter because tonight the result's going to be the same. Mercury thinks he can beat me. He must be dreaming.
The Dream, Jimmy Dean, making his way out to the ring.
One half of the big main event at Yardstock. He's just brimming with confidence here tonight.
We haven't even got to Yardstock yet. It was announced by T-Bone last Wednesday Warfare that our first supercard, it's nicknamed Yardstock, and what a show it's shaping up to be, as the Dream Jimmy Dean has been announced in the main event against the VBW World Champion, the GOAT James Blade.
And what about that's going to be, Ranahan? I can't wait.
The Dream Jimmy Dean's got to go through Mercury first as he gets ready for action here. Referee Douglas checks out both men. What do you think the Dream Jimmy Dean's chances are against James Blade, Peter?
Well, I don't know. From what I've seen in the past few weeks, I'd say they're probably pretty good. But you know what? We cannot count out our champion, the GOAT James Blade, because you've seen every time he's been in a big match situation, he just seems to find that little bit extra and end up pulling it out in the end.
It was also very interesting that T-Bone announced his departure from the VBW. Here he goes and gets everything back up and running, and then he decides to go make more money, and he wants to continue his cockfighting ring over in Thailand, so T-Bone is gone for the next little
What do
while.
you think? This stuff all comes for free, Ranahan? He's got to get that revenue stream flowing somehow.
But Sasha St. Clair is now the woman in charge of the VBW. That's got interesting written all over it as this match gets underway. Mercury and Jimmy Dean lock up, and it's Jimmy Dean with the upper hand early with a headlock.
He's just squeezing Mercury right there, but it looks like, oh, that's right, he got out. I told you this dude was a slippery guy.
It's a bit of a size difference between these two, but Mercury is not fazed and not intimidated by Jimmy Dean.
Absolutely. I think every guy that Mercury's gone up against has been bigger than him, so that kind of thing is not going to phase him one bit, Ranahan.
Hammerlock by Mercury as he positions Jimmy Dean in the middle of the ring.
Looks like he's got him in a full Nelson right there. I didn't know those were still legal.
And Jimmy Dean seems to get out of it, but no, Mercury capitalizes and reverses that.
Like I told you, man, this guy's got the skills, and right here now he's got the #1 contender under control with a huge headlock.
You and I both know, though, Peter, it's going to take a lot more than that to knock down and pin our #1 contender for the VBW World Championship.
Well, let's just hope our #1 contender doesn't underestimate Mercury here, because that could be a fatal mistake. But it looks like he's got control as he pounds him against the ropes here.
The last time we saw Mercury, he actually took on skills in a battle of respect. Unfortunately, Mercury did come up on the losing end.
And it doesn't look like Jimmy Dean's giving him much respect there. Come on, he can't be doing that.
The two-fingered salute by Jimmy Dean. But no, misses the slap, and Mercury sweeps the leg out from underneath Jimmy Dean, and he goes straight for that ankle. Looks like he's going to apply an ankle lock.
Well, we all know that the ankle lock is Mercury's big finisher, so sound strategy right here as he works on his leg, tries to soften it up for that eventual, when he eventually puts it on, right? You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't quite look like he could lock it on there, though, but he does appear to be working on the ankle of Jimmy Dean. He might want to soften it up before he tries again.
I told you, this guy is slippery and he's intelligent too. Good strategy here, because by working on the leg Ranahan, it also prevents Jimmy Dean from hitting his finisher, the one-way ticket to Dreamland.
Jimmy Dean's going to have to find a way to get back on the offense if he wants to take down Mercury. And it looks like he's trying here. Hold on a second.
Powered him over.
Two. No. Mercury kicks out and goes right back for that headlock. Just controlling Dream Jimmy Dean at this point.
What did I tell you, man? The guy's slippery, and there you go. There's more proof of it right there. Controls him down to the max.
Headlock takedown applied by Mercury. Well executed. And the Dream Jimmy Dean lying on his back. Not a good place for the #1 contender to be right now.
Well, we both know that Jimmy Dean isn't exactly a mat technician. It's when he's on his feet that he's most dangerous.
Bit of a size difference between these two, but you wouldn't know it at this point. Mercury off the ropes. Big elbow to the knee of the Dream Jimmy Dean.
There you go. Continues to work on that leg, and you can see on Jimmy Dean's face just how much that hurts.
Isolating that left leg of the Dream.
And you can bet our champ, the GOAT James Blade, he's watching this match.
Hold on a second here, Peter.
Face. What? Oh!
No, small package roll-up, but Mercury kicked out and goes quickly back to the offense.
Like I was just about to say, you can bet our champ, the GOAT James Blade, is watching this match with a smile on his face as Mercury's softening up Jimmy Dean here.
James Blade did not seem too happy last Wednesday Warfare when it was announced that he would be defending his VBW World Championship against the Dream Jimmy Dean.
Seemed, oh, big maneuver there by Mercury.
He straight up attacked Jimmy Dean in the back after his match.
He was just saying hi. I mean, like, come on, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you're in the champ's position or something like that?
I don't know. There's more respectable ways to get your message across. But Jimmy Dean, a victim of a chin lock being applied by Mercury right now.
Well, the crowd's definitely behind him here. They're willing him up to his feet.
This is a big test for the Dream Jimmy Dean and an even bigger test for Mercury. And Jimmy Dean looks to fight back as he bounces off the ropes. And a big clothesline sending Mercury crashing down. And another one. Mercury.
Is that the stuff that could be in store for our champ in the main event of Yardstock Ranahan?
Hold on a second. Samoan drop by the Dream Jimmy Dean.
Jeez, I felt that up here. He could have him right here.
Two. And a kick out by Mercury.
Wow.
Oh, I
Now that's some endurance showed by Mercury right there, Ranahan.
Both these men feeling the effects of the match so far, but the Dream seems to be on the upper hand as he goes to the top rope, while Mercury, he's not allowing that as he climbs up there with them, and he delivers some elbows to the face of the Dream, Jimmy Dean.
Could this be a second rope jawbreaker? No, Jimmy Dean's reversing it.
He tries to fight out of it, and he does, and he sends Mercury down. And Jimmy Dean grabs blockbuster by the Dream, Jimmy Dean.
This has got to be it. If he can roll him over and cover him, this is probably it.
A little slow. 1, 2. Mercury kicks out.
And I think it was that half second that Jimmy Dean took there that gave Mercury the advantage to kick out at 2.5.
Dream, Jimmy Dean, not phased.
He's sizing him up.
Hold on a second. Oh! Big maneuver by Mercury, and he goes straight for that ankle. He applies the ankle lock.
Oh no, is Jimmy Dean going to tap out here? Oh, James Blade has got to be loving this, Ranahan.
Jimmy Dean's got to make it to that rope. He's got to somehow find a way.
He's just reefing on that ankle, Mercury. But Jimmy Dean, he's crawling with every last ounce of strength.
Referee Douglas has got to break the hold. Hold on a second. Mercury drags him back into the middle of the ring. Another ankle lock.
Mercury locking his legs around Jimmy Dean's leg to add that added leverage.
Jimmy Dean in a world of hurt, but hold on, he grabs the rope, and Mercury has no choice now but to release the hold. Got to a 4 count by referee Douglas.
Oh, I can bet you Jimmy Dean's leg is just jello at this point, Ranahan.
See the pain in his face.
I think Mercury senses this is it.
Hold on a second here, Mercury. He's going for that move again. Hold on, Jimmy Dean trying to reverse it.
Huge elbows.
Hold on. One-way ticket to Dreamland to the face of Mercury.
That's got to be it. That's got to be it.
1, 2, 3, and Jimmy Dean picks up the victory against Mercury.
And I can bet you if Jimmy Dean ends up hitting that move on James Blade at Yardstock, we could have a new VBW World Champion. Let's go back to these replays.
Samoan drop, excellently executed by the Dream, and then that was followed up later in the match by the huge blockbuster. Check that out. Unbelievable. Finally, the move that sealed it, the one-way ticket to Dreamland. There he is, your winner against Mercury, the #1 contender, the Dream, Jimmy Dean.
Not even on camera, bro. VBW. Let me introduce myself. My name is Drew Sarion. I've conquered everywhere I've been. Chicago, New York, Pittsburgh, Seattle, everywhere I've been. The one place I've never conquered, though, is right here in the VBW. I'm here to prove to everybody, all the superstars, all the fans, that I'm one of the greatest wrestlers in the world.
Hey, it's Eric Cage telling you to check out VBWOnline.com. While you're there, you can check out the VBW roster, search up old shows from back in the day, or join the conversation on our message board. And while you're there, tell them the Undeniable One sent you.
Last time on Wednesday Warfare, Eric Cage called out Scott Henson. Let's see what happened.
Big Cat Scott Henson attacked me earlier tonight on Wednesday Warfare, and I gotta admit, I'm not letting him get away with it. So Scott Henson, get out here and face me like a man.
Well, it was a smug Scott Henson that would answer the call, and for the first time in a long time, it was Scott Henson and Eric Cage face to face in a ring.
Scott, listen to me. This isn't what you're used to. This is the VBW. My rules, my ring.
Yeah! And the rivalry between these two men would definitely intensify as Scott Henson decided to attack Eric Cage again, hitting him in the guts, and then Big Cat scratched to the face, but the Undeniable One wouldn't take that lying down as he'd fight back, hitting Scott Henson with a huge Rage Uncaged, rocking the ring, and the Undeniable One would stand tall. But also, that wouldn't be it, because we'd see the debut of this man, Caden Talbane, known as the Man Wolf, who would unleash with a flurry of attacks on the air cage here, leveling him down to the floor. After that, Talbane would put the rest of the VBW on notice that the team of Fur and Loathing was here to stay.
I've come to the VBW to share my knowledge on 3 things, and that's wolves, wrestling, and enduring male friendship with my boy Scott Henson here. Scott, what time is it? You got your watch?
I got the watch on the old paw here. Let's have a look.
Oh, it's time for the VBW to step aside because Fur taking over!
Back inside the VBW arena, getting ready for our second match of the evening. And what we just saw, Peter, with Scott Henson, have to admit, is pretty disgusting.
Well, I mean, the man's just trying to make a name for himself here in the VBW, and that's the way you do it. You know, you go out there and you take business into your own hands.
I don't know if that's the way you do it, but Scott Henson did debut a friend of his, this man, Caden Talbane.
The Man Wolf, come on now, let's get it right.
Big Cat and Man Wolf walk out to the ring. What a dynamic duo these two are turning out to be here in the VBW. And Scott Henson and Caden Talbane sure delivered a beatdown to the undeniable one, Eric Cage, as we just saw in the recap. I don't know what to make of these two at this point, but Scott Henson has a very, very storied past with the VBW. He has bumped heads with Eric Cage before, but nothing like what we saw on Wednesday Warfare.
Well, I got to admit, Ranahan, these two made a heck of an impact attacking Eric Cage the way that I did. And you know what? That's what you got to do, man, to make yourself known.
That is specious.
Scott Henson awaiting the arrival of his opponent. A man that he's probably very familiar with. These two have wrestled with each other numerous times throughout their careers. This man's making his debut tonight here on Sunday Sacrifice in the VBW. A man that we haven't seen for probably at least 11 years. A man of a million moves, Daniel Makabe.
That's right, the last time we saw Daniel Makabe was way back 10 years ago when Jimmy Dean actually beat him for the Canadian Championship.
This guy is a technical masterpiece. He knows moves that I'm just admitting right now I won't even be able to know the name of when I commentate this match.
Well, that's not a big surprise. You don't know the names of half the moves anyways. That's why I'm here.
Come on, Peter.
Come on, nothing.
We're supposed to be a team.
We are the team. That's right. I'm the brains, and I don't know what the hell you are.
The beauty.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
That's a hard move.
Daniel Makabe being checked up by the referee.
Beauty shower once a week.
Getting ready to take on Big Cat Scott Henson. And I have to wonder what kind of influence will Caden Talbane have in this match tonight.
You can bet that Caden Talbane is definitely the wild card in Scott Henson's pocket tonight.
Well, the bell has rung. Big Cat Scott Henson taking on Daniel Makabe, and it's Daniel Makabe's debut, like I had mentioned, Peter.
Now you can expect some fast-paced, hard-hitting action here between these two men tonight on Sunday Sacrifice, Ranahan. Let's get this match going. I'm excited.
Makabe went for the handshake, and Henson pawed him away. Henson with the early strike, but Makabe fights right back.
Now, I'd say this every single time I see this man, but what is up with that tail, Ranahan? You know, it's just something I've never seen before, and I'm just dying. Maybe Makabe will do it here tonight. I'm just dying to see somebody pull that tail.
Look at those shoulder tackles to each other, and Makabe with the
big leg takedown. Come on now, there you go.
I'm just kidding.
Leg scissors takedown. Come on.
Makabe rolls Henson.
Rolls him up.
A modified roll up, but Henson kicks out early. And Makabe go. No, hold on a second.
Almost a backslide. Going off the second rope.
Oh, huge maneuver by Daniel Makabe, sending Henson crashing down to the mat.
Just drove his face right into the ring right there.
1, 2. It's going to take a lot more than that to kill off a big cat that they call Scott Henson.
You just took the words right out of my mouth here. And like we said, the man of a million holds here, throwing on a submission onto Big Cat.
What do you say?
Grabbing the tail, Peter.
Oh, perfect.
Henson's trying to reach for the rope.
See, even the crowd wants to see that tail get pulled, Ranahan.
Henson grabbed the rope, and the referee forced Makabe to break the hold. Makabe gets back up to his feet first. The crowd into this match.
You can bet the undeniable one, Eric Cage, he's watching this match quite intently.
Makabe tried to go for the abdominal stretch, but Henson countered and sent Makabe right into the corner turnbuckle. And what's this? A slow back scratch by Scott Henson.
Using those claws that he has, that has got to hurt.
Hashtag roar. Into the corner comes that Makabe. Makabe with the nice counter. And he follows up with some offense of his own. The big
Flying
strike.
forearm into the corner.
Tried to go for the German suplex, but Henson countered.
Do it again.
Looks like Henson's going to do a move of his own here. Oh, big knee to the stomach of Henson. He was caught up on the ropes.
I could have sworn that was the rib cage.
And kablamo. Almost. Hold on a second. He's got him up in a torture rack into the knees to the back of Makabe.
That was the kablamo right there, Ranahan. Get your stuff straight.
Two.
Very close there. Almost had Makabe for the 3.
Henson applying. It's not quite a chin lock.
Now, Scott Henson's been on quite the roll since he's debuted here in the VBW. What do you attest to Scott Henson's success, Ranahan?
Well, the man is definitely a threat to be reckoned with. You do not want to take this man lightly. I have to admit, it was very interesting seeing Eric Cage and Scott Henson face to face in the middle of the ring last Wednesday Warfare. And it was explosive, wasn't it, Peter?
Is it the paws? Is it the claws? Is it the tail? What is it that gives Scott Henson this wrestling prowess that he seems to have?
I think it's his size. The guy is a man of... He's no Mercury, let's put it that way.
Well, they call him the Big Cat for a reason now, Ranahan. Come on.
But if there is a man that could go up and stand toe-to-toe with Scott Henson, or tail-to-tail with, if you want to say it that way.
Okay.
Look at that German suplex. But if you want to talk about a man that can stand up to Scott Henson, it'd have to be the undeniable one, Eric Cage. Look at this, back suplex by Makabe.
Dropped him right onto the back of his head.
Maybe we should be talking about Makabe and not Eric Cage. 1, 2. Oh, Henson kicks out.
That was like 2 7/8.
He got the shoulder up.
Check out these replays here. Makabe off the ropes with an unbelievable spinning elbow to the face of Scott Henson, and he followed it up with a German suplex of his own.
One that Brock Lesnar would be proud of.
Absolutely. Makabe on the offense has the Big Cat Scott Henson down on his back, and he doesn't look like he's finished here yet, as he looks like he's going to head up to the top rope. What's Makabe thinking here, Peter?
Something aerial, definitely. Maybe an elbow.
High risk maneuver. Oh! Feet to the back of Daniel Makabe. That has got to hurt.
Right into the lower spine. He's going to need some chiropractic work after
And
that one.
Scott Henson has him up. Oh, unbelievable maneuver by Henson. The pin. 1, 2. Oh, kick out by Daniel Makabe. I thought it was over there.
2 huge maneuvers by Big Cat Scott Henson.
Henson couldn't believe it, neither could Caden Talbane.
Stay out of this.
So far, Talbane's pretty much adhered to the rules and kept his place on the outside of the ring so far.
Scott Henson is meaning all business right now as he sets him up. Goes for the critical area, but hold on a second. Makabe with the abdominal stretch, trying to lock it in.
It's a version of the abdominal stretch.
Does he have it locked in there? I can't tell. Hold on a second. Caden Talbane grabbing the feet of Makabe, and he's up on the ring. Caden Talbane sent to the floor. Scott Henson,
you can't even call the action. It's happening so fast and furious here tonight, Ranahan.
Burned right by Scott Henson.
Wow, that's got to be it.
Here's the pin. 1, 2, 3. And Scott Henson picks up the victory. And the debut of Daniel Makabe turns up unsuccessful. His first victory's going to have to wait. And it's all thanks to the assist of that man, Caden Talbane.
Scott Henson continues his meteoric role here in the VBW. Are you sure this is somebody that Eric Cage should be taking on?
Not when you have Caden Talbane sitting side by side with the Big Cat. The Man Wolf and Big Cat is a force to be reckoned with here in the VBW.
Fur and Loathing successful tonight here on Sunday Sacrifice.
Hey, you stay away from him.
Well, still to come tonight on Sunday Sacrifice, these two men met face to face earlier in the ring. Chris Goodwin wants a chance to rename that Canadian Championship, and he'll get the opportunity still to come tonight.
beat anyone. I can't beat Jimmy Dean. I can't beat... what the f***'s the other guy's name? I don't know. But what the heck? At least I still got you.
My, what the heck was up with Eddie Allen there? I hope he's okay, Peter.
That's what you call a porcelain phone call to God, Ranahan.
Well, let's hope for the best. But let's take you back now to what happened on the last episode of Wednesday Warfare. It was the Canadian Championship Tournament Finals. The big title was on the line, and the two men in the finals was Mean Streak Mike Dempsey taking on the Architect Christopher Blade.
That's right, the action was fast and furious here as both men put it all on the line for the Canadian Championship in the main event of Warfare.
You saw the roll-up by Christopher Blaze, but Mike Dempsey countered with the back elbow, followed by a huge back suplex and the Insiguri kick. In fact, most of the offense in this match was by Mike Dempsey. You see the tornado DDT there, but in the end, the blaze of glory by Christopher Blaze, followed by the huge final product, and Christopher Blaze picked up the 1, 2, 3, and he went on to win the Canadian Championship.
His second reign.
Also on Wednesday Warfare, we saw VBW owner T-Bone make his way out to the ring with his assistant Sasha St. Clair, and T-Bone had a very, very big announcement.
I will be stepping away from the VBW.
What?
Come on, T-Bone.
At least a year. I have a cockfighting ring over in Thailand.
T-Bone would also announce that he'd be leaving the beautiful Sasha St. Clair in charge of the VBW while he was away.
But before he left, he had one more bombshell announcement to drop.
See, I was thinking, we need a big show. We need a supercard. And I had a dream. I woke up in the morning and I realized, what better than yard stock?
The biggest news to hit the VBW since its return, Yardstock, VBW's first ever supercard with a huge main event.
Goat James Blade for the VBW World title against the Dream Jimmy Dean.
Oh! And with that, T-Bone would ride off into the sunset of Thailand to chants of his own name as he announces his departure.
But our champ would take matters into his own hands as he attacks the Dream Jimmy Dean backstage. These two men would go back and forth with the GOAT almost getting the upper hand, but Jimmy Dean would hit a huge one-way ticket to Dreamland, standing tall over the GOAT. This is going to be a huge match at Yardstock.
Also on Wednesday Warfare, we saw ice-cold Eddie Allen, who finally got that hardcore match that he was asking for, but he was taking on a former hardcore champion in the Dream Jimmy Dean, and Jimmy Dean held his own as you see the kendo stick shots with the garbage bucket over ice-cold Eddie Allen's head, and the match ended with a huge guitar shot that left ice-cold Eddie Allen in a pool of his own blood, and Jimmy Dean picked up the victory.
And in other action on Warfare, we saw the VBW's resident high flyer Mini G take on our world champion in the GOAT James Blade.
In a match that everyone wanted to see, James Blade showing his technical prowess and Mini G showing his high flying skills. This match went back and forth, but James Blade with the superplex eventually locking on the gloat, and Mini G had no choice but to tap out. Your VBW world champion still stands tall.
That's why he's the champion right there, Ranahan.
It was a crazy episode of Warfare, and it only gets crazier as we head towards Yardstock.
God. Disgusting.
Mr. Dempsey, I got bad news.
Bad news? You have bad news? What's the bad news?
She kicked me out of the office and said no.
She kicked you out of the office and said no. So, great. So let me get this straight. First, I lose my shot at the Canadian title, and next, I'm denied my rematch? Andrew, do you know what this is?
A double bogey?
No, it's not a double bogey. This is a damn travesty. But you know what? You and we are not through with Christopher Blaze. All right?
After this show, do you want to go relieve some stress and rock some balls?
No! What?
At the driving range.
No. I hate golf. God.
Well, it is main event time tonight here on Sunday Sacrifice. And there he is, from Manchester, England, Chris Goodwin making his way out to the ring. Much to the chagrin of all Canadians out there, he was the one that answered the open challenge issued by the new VBW Canadian champion, Christopher Blaze. This should be a very exciting matchup here.
I gotta be honest with you, Ranahan. The Queen Elizabeth II title, I kind of like that. It's starting to grow on me. I don't mind that at all.
Come on. No way. But here he is. He beat Mean Streak Mike Dempsey on last Wednesday Warfare in what was a very, very tough Canadian title tournament. Your new VBW Canadian champion. I gotta admit, it looks pretty damn good on him. There he is, the architect, Christopher Blaze.
Looks like he's still feeling the effects of that devastating maneuver that Goodwin hit him with right off the top of the show. But I don't think that's going to hold him back one bit here, Ranahan.
This is going to be one heck of a matchup. Chris Goodwin, like I had mentioned, all the way from Manchester, England, making his debut tonight here in the VBW. And what a debut he has here. An opportunity of a lifetime as he gets an opportunity to rename the Canadian Championship, as he had mentioned.
Well, let me tell you, I've seen this Chris Goodwin guy wrestle before, and I tell you, he's no slouch. He's definitely got the skills and the talent to go toe-to-toe with Christopher Blaze here tonight.
And Christopher Blaze, fresh off his win against Mean Streak last Warfare, he's no man to take lightly either, as referee Douglas puts that beautiful Canadian Championship aside as he checks, as he will check both rounds. Hold on a second, Chris Goodwin not wasting any time. The bell has rung, and he starts with elbows to the face, followed up by a huge a foot to the face of Christopher Blaze, starting dirty.
What's so dirty about that? He's just, you know, it's a completely legal maneuver, wouldn't you agree?
At least let referee Douglas check the competitors first.
Well, like, that's how you get ahead. I mean, he's just trying to take a little bit of an advantage.
And Goodwin on the offense as he has Christopher Blaze backed up into the ropes.
2, 3.
This is going to be very, very interesting.
What do you think about the job referee Douglas has done so far here in the VBW, Ranahan?
I think he has been one of the better additions to the VBW. Without question, he knows his stuff, and he's the perfect man to referee this main event. Championship on the line as Chris Goodwin comes across. Kick to the gut of Christopher Blaze, followed up by strikes. I gotta admit, Peter, these strikes is gonna take a lot more than that to defeat the Canadian champion, the newly crowned Canadian champion.
Fresh into his second reign, I'd like to add.
It's true. Referee Douglas puts a stop to that as Chris Goodwin just basically continues his onslaught, though, of the champion.
Well, he's just helping him out with a little bit of chiropractic work. That's all he's doing.
Fair enough. Chris Goodwin lifting Christopher Blaze. Hold on a second. Chris Blaze fighting back off the ropes. Goes for a shoulder tackle, but Goodwin's not phased. And another shoulder tackle, and Goodwin's not phased again. Goes for a third time, and he finally knocks the man from Manchester, England down to the mat. Christopher Blaze follows up with a double underhook suplex, and Chris Goodwin beginning to realize why Christopher Blaze is the Canadian champion.
I gotta say, this Chris Goodwin guy, he looks like he moves with a pedigree out there, but at the moment, oh, there we go. I was just gonna say Christopher Blaze had the upper hand, but it looks like Goodwin.
Fisherman suplex with the pin. 1,
This could be it.
2. Christopher Blaze kicks out.
We almost had the Queen Elizabeth II title right there, Ranahan.
Come on, there's no way that Canadian Championship's getting renamed tonight. Kick to the gut by Goodwin.
You never know, you know? And what do you got against the Queen? Huh? What do you got against the Queen?
I have nothing against the Queen. I do have something against renaming the Canadian Championship. That title has been around in the VBW since the beginning. There's quite a history to go with that. You can't just rename something like that.
Well, we've got the Queen's image on all our money. What would be the problem with having the Queen's image on one of our belts? I mean, she is our monarch after all. You've got to show the respect. I mean, I think it's absolutely disgusting how this guy comes in here and gets just disrespected by all the fans.
Hold on, roll up, 2. Quick kick out, quick count by referee Douglas. Hold on, another pin, 1, 2, and Christopher Blaze can't capitalize, but he will stay on the offense. Huge Northern Lights suplex from the champion. 1, 2. Goodwin manages to bridge out of that pin.
Like I was just mentioning before, I think it's absolutely disgraceful how this guy comes in here all the way from England to stand up for our rightful monarch and get disrespected by the fans here in the VBW arena.
I respectfully disagree with you, Peter. Both men slowly making their way up to the feet, and it's Goodwin up first. Oh, big kick to the back of the head. Christopher Blaze, not sure where he is, but Goodwin still feeling the effects from the Northern Lights suplex, it looks like. Both men down on the mat. Goodwin slowly inching his way over to make the pin, and he does so. 1, 2. Blaze kicks out. That was close, Peter.
I was getting the image of the new belt right in my mind right there.
Here's something you can't do in the VBW. Touch a referee. Hold on a second. A roll up from Blaze from behind. 2, no. Goodwin manages to kick out of that.
Oh my God, what a matchup here tonight in the main event of Sunday's Sacrifice. Both men putting it all on the line here. This is the kind of action you can expect to see every time you tune into a VBW show.
Goodwin up to his feet first, manages to look. It looks like he was trying to do that same maneuver that he did earlier tonight. Hold on a second. Blaze of Glory by Christopher Blaze. Can he make the pin? Yes. 1, 2, 3. Christopher Blaze manages to retain and defend the Canadian Championship. We're not renaming it tonight, Peter. Check out the replay here. Back from Goodwin, but Christopher Blaze countered it perfectly with the roll-up. Couldn't get the pin there, but then check out the beautiful Northern Lights suplex from
awesome
Blaze.
Bridge there.
Followed by the Blaze of Glory, and he couldn't finish it, Dempsey with it last week, but he managed to finish Goodwin with it this week. Still, your VBW Canadian Champion, the Architect, Christopher Blaze. You gotta wonder, what's Mike Dempsey thinking about this?
You can bet he's watching this match. And it was a long flight out here, but it's going to be an even longer flight home as Chris Goodwin comes up short in his quest for the Canadian title.
What the hell do you think you're trying to do here? What are you trying to pull?
What are you talking about?
You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, ever since I accidentally kicked cameraman Bob, or whatever the hell his name is, complete accident, you guys have, what, you trying to hold me down? You know, first you got me opening up Wednesday Warfare with Mini G. And then you give me the wrong time to show up here tonight for Sunday Sacrifice.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Gear down, Big Rig. It's not my fault you can't tell time.
You know exactly what you did. You know exactly. You know what? And another thing. There is no way the main event of Yardstock should be the Dream Jimmy Dean versus the GOAT James Blade for this VBW World Championship. You know it and I know it. How many chances that guy need?
Oh, you're right. You'll be lucky if you make it to Yardstock, because next week on Warfare, you're going to be putting your title on the line against the Architect. And the winner of that match will go on to face Jimmy Dean the Dream at Yardstock.
What? That's
you let
bullshit!
me get out of my office. I've had enough of you.
That is bullshit.
Get out!
You better watch what you do from now on, lady.
Out!
Get and watch what you do!